U.S. lawmakers have plenty of work on their hands.
That is for sure. Senator Ted Kaufman joins us now with an update and his reaction to some of this morning's headlines. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Let's start with these two American journalists held captive in North Korea. 12 years. We were talking about this. How do you reason with someone who is unreasonable?
Absolutely right. And someone who's congenitally unreasonable. I mean, he is unreasonable just to be unreasonable. It's a little bit like someone in the terrible twos that just wants to get attention. And so he just does whatever he can. And so dealing with him is almost impossible. And plus he's got nuclear weapons, and so it makes it difficult. Really what we have to do is deal what we should be doing, and that is dealing with the whole region. China has some leverage with him. We've got to talk to the Chinese. We've got Japan, South Korea, get everybody in and just put pressure on him. But this is a guy who collects people just as a ploy to use to get whatever he wants.
Do you think that these journalists will be released? I mean, a lot of the critics are.
Yeah. No, I don't think they'll ever serve, the entire term. But you never know with a guy like this.
1 day is too long.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And I would just tell anybody who's out there on TV, do not travel to North Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, I don't want to blame them because they were there, but North Korea, there's just some places in this world that are just really, really bad places to go to, where bad people are in control, and Americans kind of have this, we can do it kind of phrase, but there's just certain places you should not go to, and North Korea is one of those places.
People forget that the rules in America are far different than the rules overseas.
Especially when it comes to the press. I mean, we have this free press over here. There aren't very many places in the world that still have a free press. I've traveled all over the world because I was involved in U.S. international broadcasting, and there's very few places now we really have a free press. So reporters go there. North Korea is a great story, trying to find something out because we know so little about them. But it's just not a place to go to.
All right. Well, our hearts are certainly with them. But now we want to talk about some subjects here at home. First, General Motors. That plant obviously closing.
I'll tell you. I've talked about this when we've been on before about how we're going to go through a really tough period in here, and any job we lose is a bad job to lose. But General Motors, we have such a great tradition in Delaware of our automobile business. It used to be 10, 11, 12,000 employees in the automobile business between Chrysler and General Motors, and now both of the plants are going to close. And we fought, the governor did a great job, my senior senator Tom Carper and Mike Castle, we fought like the devil to get this plant kept open. Now what we're doing is this week Ed Montgomery's coming in. He's on the automobile task force. He's going to help lay out what we can do for these employees. But that's why it's so important to get the economy moving again. And I do foreign policy, and the rest of my most important job is to get this job thing going. And I spend every day trying to figure out how we can get it done. I think we're doing some good things, like the president's doing some good things. But that anybody should lose a job at a time like this. I mean, we've talked about it before. Now you lose your job, you lose your health care, and how do you go home and tell your kids?
Yeah, there's no birthday, there's no Christmas.
And the thing is, it's won't anybody lose their job, but the people losing their jobs now are people that did it by the rules.
Yeah.
They did it all right. They did all the right things. They did everything right, and they end up getting caught in an economic crisis that has not of their doing. So we've got to do everything we can to get this thing back moving again. I mean, just it's terrible to anybody lose a job.
So I know it's kind of like rapid fire topics, but while we have you here, I know that you've looked Judge Sonia Sotomayor in the eye and everything. And what do you make of her? I mean,
she's really incredibly impressive. Why does one person get so much? I mean, here she graduated from Princeton with the highest honors. She graduated from Yale Law School with highest honors. Everything she does is right. She's been on the circuit. She's a prosecutor in New York. And
what do you make about the controversy? Some people call her racist.
We talked about Jen. We talked about this before we went on. I was there kind of in the beginning because I worked with Vice President Biden on the Bork nomination. But now it's become like cottage industry. I mean, you announce somebody for the Supreme Court, and people just start throwing stuff. It's just regardless of whether it has any truth to it or anything else, they just go after any little thing. So we're just beginning the process. She just turned over 87 speeches. She's done a 170-page questionnaire. So we're just getting started. And it's nice to see that my Republican colleagues are not getting involved in this. They're not the one. But the off stage, on TV, you got all these folks saying these absolutely ridiculous things about her. So, she still has to stand up to confirmation. This is a lifetime appointment. We take our time. We got to look it over. We got to see. She'll be there long after most of the senators are gone. So you really got to spend time on doing it. But this kind of, out of the box, calling her names, doing things like that, I just don't think that's productive. And I think it really is. This is an incredibly important job.
We only have 30 seconds left, but the president is going to be focusing on health care.
Yes.
How do we pay for this? I mean, everyone wants everyone to be covered, but how do you pay for it?
Well, this is not how do we pay for it. We're going to have to pay for it. Do you know what? If we keep going the way we are, the average family in America will be paying, in 2018, will be paying $25,000 a year for health care.
Wow. I don't think sometimes people realize when you're uninsured, or you're underinsured, but there are times I had a mix-up one time on an appointment, and I got the bill when the insurance company said it wasn't going to pay. It was maybe a 15-minute appointment. It was thousands of dollars.
Oh, no, look, the basic thing is we've got to do something about this. It's okay the way it is now. now. I mean, it'll be okay, but the costs are going to get great. I believe we have to have a public option. I guarantee that everybody gets a choice of their doctor. Absolutely have to have your choice of doctor on any plan we have. We got to have options for people so they make different plans. I think we can come up with a really good plan so people can have better health care than they did and get costs under control. One of the reasons why we have these incredible deficits is because Medicare and Medicaid are just out of control. And you cannot control these deficits. We've got to get these deficits under control. And the only way we're going to do it is control health care costs, because you cannot come up with a plan to deal with Medicare, deal with deficits without dealing with Medicare.
I know you can't answer this in a yes or no, but are lawmakers going to get along to actually get something done? It just seems like it turns political, you know?
No, it's because people have different views. It's not because, one of the things I've noticed, you know, I was out of this for 13 years and came back. I find my Republican and Democratic colleagues are really very friendly and they get along.
So it's not as bad as what we see?
Well, but there's very basic differences on how to do things. I mean, people aren't just given Democratic, Republican when they're born. They pick a party, and you pick a party just like you pick a religion. You pick something, and then you believe whatever it is in there.
That's fair.
So there's real legitimate differences. But we can get along. In healthcare, we just got to have a will. This healthcare, we absolutely have to do it. This is one of the few times where the stars in alignment. President's got a good plan. People know we got a lot of the business communities on board to have some kind of a plan. This is crucial to the economic success of this country.
We pick our friends as well, and we appreciate you being a good friend of Good Day. Senator Kaufman, thanks for coming. You got a lot to do.
Yeah.
So please leave here and go right to Washington.
I will do that.
Do not stop at a rest stop. Get out of here.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on. It's great. I really do enjoy it. Congratulations,
too.
I
appreciate that.
That's great.
Hey, guess what?
Best to Landry.
Oh, thank you. The Phillies, let's talk about that. You love them, of course. Check this out.